Hi everyone. So sorry. There was a bit of a technical difficulty, but um, we're all good now, and um, I can't play music, so I'm just gonna talk. Um, while everyone settles in, we're also waiting for our speakers. If anyone cannot hear me, please let me know. Just give us a few minutes. So we're also waiting for Shin to come in. CJ, you can hear me, right?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great. Okay, just give me about 2 minutes to let everyone settle in. Okay, Shin, I just need you co-host as well. And Joella, I just need you as speaker. Okay, yeah. We'll wait for everyone. So Shin, sorry, I can't play music.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Hey, we're
Hello,
good.
yeah, good here as well.
Nice. Hey Shin, can you hear me as clearly as before? Like previously?
I can hear you, yeah, but yes, your voice is just a tad bit muffled,
Yeah.
just a little bit, yeah.
I think my earphones aren't working, but it's okay.
It's time to get an iPhone.
What?
Time to
It's
get
about
an
my
iPhone.
earphones. It's about my earphones, not my phone.
Okay, time to get an AirPod. Sensing an Apple fan here.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll try.
Okay, guys. We'll just wait a couple of minutes for people to gather. It's 9 p.m. Some might be just finishing their facial. Some might be just finishing their dinner. Some, like me, might just came off from work. So we just give everyone, no matter what they're doing, a few more minutes. And I think we can start in about 9:05 ish, something like that.
Okay.
Cool.
See, my earphones suddenly started working. So is it clearer now?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, great. All right, let's just give everyone about 2 more minutes. Thanks
Okay.
everyone for waiting.
So I see more people more people joining us. And you know what, Dion? I think it's episode 5. Time flies, huh?
Yeah, it is. Soon it will be like episode 76. Then we'll be like, oh my god, where did time
Soon
go?
soon we'll run out of digits to say which episode this is. This is episode too many digits.
Soon we'll lose track. But I think we can start. It's 9:05.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep people waiting. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So hello everyone. Welcome to MX Talks. Once again, we're very grateful for all speakers and listeners who have joined us today. So just to give a short introduction, I'm Dion. And
I'm Shane. We will be your co-hosts for today.
yeah. So tonight we have decided to tackle quite a huge topic in the blockchain sphere, which is the Cosmos ecosystem. And why I say it's huge, I mean, everyone knows that the word cosmos is likened to the universe, right? So likewise, the Cosmos blockchain ecosystem is really almost like a whole universe on its own, with its own infrastructure, network, protocols, etc. And for Shin and me, this topic is very important because MarginX is a Cosmos-based DEX. So before we introduce our speakers, Shin, can you briefly tell us what MarginX is?
Yeah, sure. I'm glad to do that. Nothing like an ad added into just before the TV, right? Before the real content. Anyway, guys, my name is Shin. I'm a core contributor of MarginX. And MarginX, as Dion already put it, is a Cosmos-based DEX built on FunctionX network. In simpler terms, MarginX is what we like to call your bridge to the world of DeFi. We try to make DeFi easy to learn, understand, and use. So whether you're looking to do some advanced perpetuals trading or you're just a beginner and trying to grow some passive income within the crypto space, MarginX got the solution for you. Now, for more information, you can visit us at marginx.io. But for more tonight, it's going to go back focusing on Cosmos. Back to you, Dion.
Okay, thanks for the introduction, Shin. Okay, so let's begin our discussion tonight by having a quick round of speaker introductions. Can each of the speakers very briefly tell us what you do and also share with us how you first got introduced to Cosmos? So let's start with Joella, Growth and Community at ConHall.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, very clear.
So I'm Joella. I go by the name Spiker on Twitter. I am, as you mentioned, a growth and community at CoinHall. So CoinHall is a real-time price charts analytics DEX aggregator validator platform on Cosmos. How I got into crypto or Cosmos? I think it's actually started with Terra. So this is a topic that most people will be like, yeah. So I actually started off with Terra, but then gradually I was quite exposed to the other zones as well because it's quite connected, right? And now it's mostly just like osmosis and injective and all that. So that's just how my journey began. Like I first started last year.
When you say Terra, were you like in Anchor or something?
Yeah. Everything.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Sorry. Okay, that was quite interesting. Okay, next we have CJ, Changping, Chief Strategy Officer and Head of Business Development at Sitio Labs. CJ, can you tell us what you do and also how you got into Cosmos?
Yeah, sure. So, hey everyone, I am CJ, also known as Fish Market Academy on Twitter and YouTube. And yeah, happy to be here. And I am Chief Strategy Officer and Business Development at Sitio Labs. So, Sitio Labs, we are a Web3 development studio, mainly focused on creating DeFi protocols. And we have our own layer one on Cosmos as well. It's called Carbon Network. And it's a place where you can do all things DeFi from perp trading to money market, passive investing, etc. So very happy to be here, and hopefully we can get to share more and educate more about Cosmos to the community as well.
Okay, sure. Thanks, CJ. We actually have one more speaker who's supposed to join us. His name is Karan. He's the India lead for DYDX, but unfortunately, he's got an urgent meeting that just came up. So so he'll try to join us. And if he does join us later on, he will. But we'll just get the ball rolling first. So I'll just like to start with some basic questions to both our speakers, Joella and CJ. So let's start with the basics. What is Cosmos? Can you break it down so that laymen can understand that? Maybe we start with CJ.
Okay, sure. I forgot to mention about how I got into Cosmos earlier. So just a quick one. I also mainly got into it from Terra Luna. That was when I got really hardcore into the whole Cosmos thing. And then I got to know a lot of other protocols due to Terra Luna as well. And so Cosmos basically, if I were to describe it, it's like a decentralized network of different blockchains that can talk to each other with the same language, right? Like internet uses like I think some TCP/IP kind of language, and that's how all the different internet applications can talk to each other. And in Cosmos, there's their own language, like IBC, and that's how it helps all the different applications beyond top of Cosmos to use the same language to communicate. And that's why a lot of different applications work so seamlessly across each other on Cosmos. So it's like really like an internet of blockchain in a sense, which is also their tagline as well. So that's how I would describe it.
Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. So I was just going to ask Joella if you had anything to add on.
Same thing as CJ. So in my understanding, I guess it's best to describe Cosmos as a blockchain technology that differs from, traditional monolithic blockchains like Solana in several different ways, right? So rather than having a single governance, security, and economic system ruling over like protocols, Cosmos offers a much more like flexible, decentralized, and sovereign approach. So as what CJ has mentioned, Cosmos is just the ecosystem of interoperable sovereign blockchain apps and services built for decentralization.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Joella. I'm just going to throw in some questions here. I always try to be the devil's advocate, so pardon me if my questions sounds a bit on the attack, but I assure you that's not my intention. But I just want to challenge, right? Like we all know that the objective of Cosmos and the users of Cosmos, MarginX included, we're really proud that Cosmos we try to be the internet of the blockchain world. We talked a lot about the interoperabilities, but there's a question, right? This is only true within the Cosmos community. So I think a lot of detractors out there tend to say that there's actually kind of a huge barrier when it comes to onboarding on Cosmos. And what about the interoperability between Cosmos and other kind of ecosystems out there? How do you see this challenge, and what do you think the solution to it would be?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and I really think it's a lot of just misunderstanding. So just because some application is built on Cosmos doesn't mean that it can't interact with applications and ecosystems outside of Cosmos, right? I mean, if we think about Cosmos itself, it really has Ethermint module, which allows for the EVM version of Cosmos, right? Still using the Cosmos SDK and the Tendermint consensus. And if we look at applications that are both available on MetaMask and Kepler, for example, DMAX, which is the pub DEX that I'm contributing, they also have cross-chain, and that means that it has already assets like Arbitrum, all the way from Ethereum to BSC and different EVMs and even non-EVMs like Zilliqa, Neo, etc. to be on this Cosmos app chain. And this essentially allows users to, even if they are from Cosmos, right, they can buy and get all these assets that are outside of Cosmos. And this also allows users that are not in Cosmos, right, to come onto our platform or to any other platform, cross-chain Cosmos platform, right, like MarginX, to be able to buy Cosmos assets they can't get anywhere else on crypto, even even if they use their MetaMask. So it's actually just some education thing that has to be done to get more developers to build protocols that is more cross-chain compatible. A cross-chain being other assets outside of the ecosystem can be brought into Cosmos application. And as bridging solutions get more and more advanced, like we have Xla, we have Stargate, and Stargate being layer 0, we have Wormhole, right, which links to many other ecosystems that are not necessarily EVM, right? They can all link back to Cosmos applications, and in this way, a user from any of the ecosystems can actually interact with Cosmos, even on their own wallet, as long as there is development support for that. So yeah, Cosmos is really amazing because of how flexible and how customizable you can build applications on it. Yeah.
Yep, agree. I'll add on to him just quickly. So, I guess the question here is, well, most blockchains out there when they want to scale, most of them resort to external solutions like shards or like rollups. But the core issues may not be the most decentralized approach. So often, you always see some core important area being sacrificed when it comes to achieving scalability or decentralization. So this is where the concept of Cosmos comes in, because no chain can do it all, and they simply change the design for blockchains in general, right? So essentially, they offer full stack optimization with their three tenets: Comet BFT, previously referred to as Tendermint Core, Cosmos SDK, and IBC. So what they do is basically they combine both like the consensus and networking layer of any blockchain as a generic engine. And you can also think of it like a plug and play, where these developers, they can just use ready built models with Cosmos SDK without having to deal with them from the ground up, like governance or staking. So since they share the same layers through the core engine, IBC then allows these chains to be connected with each other, and that's the most important part of it all, because essentially this offers a world of many secure blockchains, right? Each with their own specific applications, all being connected with one another. And you can bring in the cross-chain aspect as well. There's FMOS, there's also like Nibiru coming out, and I think DMAX even has cross-chain assets, like they port in from other chains. And I guess if one chain goes down, users can still easily operate with the myriad of protocols available on other chains in Cosmos, and that's in my opinion, the most important fact of all.
Okay, yeah, that's very interesting that you guys mentioned that other blockchains can communicate with Cosmos, and also Joella, when you mentioned the unique features of Cosmos ecosystem that you really like, I wanted to kind of like add on to that and ask, like, are there any other things that that makes Cosmos or rather like makes Cosmos stand out compared to the other blockchain ecosystems? And also, like, maybe how do these features help Cosmos users like build on the DeFi space?
CJ, you want to take this first, or?
You can take it first. I should address it to you.
I think why I started on Cosmos. Okay, so previously when I started crypto, I was constantly like using bridges and all that, and it wasn't really a pleasant experience because sometimes I may have lost money and stuff. But I settled on Cosmos because of the bigger picture and away from the omni-chain thesis. As I mentioned just now, no blockchain can do it all, and Cosmos is designed from the ground up for the interchain world with what tech they have. And I guess all in all, I was just drawn to them because of its flexibility, convenience, interoperability. It made DeFi a really seamless experience for me. It was so easy for me to just transfer assets in between different ecosystems within like a few seconds. Like if I want Juno assets on Osmosis, just port it over in like 5 seconds, compared to me going to the bridge and then something may have happened in between, I get hacked or some crap like that. But yeah, and it's only ever growing more interchain at the moment. So I think that's what made me quite attached to Cosmos. Like I see the potential there, and I mean the community is great as well. So
CJ, do you have anything to add? Because actually I have a question, but CJ, maybe you can add on first.
Yeah, sure. So I have really similar thoughts with Joella. I basically think Cosmos, their killer feature is actually the way that developers can custom build their own blockchain and tailor it to exactly the specifications that they want. So if you are like a DeFi focused chain, you can make your chain go really, really fast. Or if you are like a NFT chain, you can add additional NFT modules to that chain to make it more effective or efficient for NFT transactions, etc. And on top of that, still being really interoperable. So like what Joella said, any IBC transfers within Cosmos takes seconds, and you just don't get this kind of experience in other ecosystems. So yeah, that's why we love Cosmos.
Oh, okay. So actually I was curious to ask, like, when you guys talk about the deployability of the Cosmos SDK, you're saying like it's very easy for like developers to use. Yeah, I mean CJ actually kind of answered my question in a way, because he said that not about the SDK but about the interoperability, that you don't really find this in other ecosystems. But how about I mean I'm just really curious to know, like, how about like the deployability? Is this really like a Cosmos, like is Cosmos really that great, and like how are other ecosystems based on your experience really that much less user friendly, etc. Maybe Joella, you can
Sorry,
can try.
can you
No
can you
worries.
repeat the question again? Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. So I was asking about the deployability of the Cosmos SDK, and also the interoperability that CJ mentioned. I was wondering, like, is this really like so like Cosmos really has this first class system that other blockchain ecosystems don't have? Because it's kind of hard to imagine that other blockchain ecosystems, like even Ethereum or like Binance being built similar to like Ethereum, like they don't like they don't display like this sort of like user friendliness as well. It's kind of hard to imagine that. So I wanted to like clarify, like, yeah, like how yeah, is Cosmos ecosystem like, wow, is it really so great,
I think it's a combination of many factors. So I mean, the first point is basically the interoperability, how easy it is, how seamless it is. Compared to other blockchains, I may not have experienced much yet, but I think there are two factors I would say: speed and also the cost, right? So for me to just be able to port over assets within a few clicks without having to wait, as compared to maybe I go on Synapse Bridge and then I have to wait like 10 minutes, and sometimes there are issues as well. I think that was one core point that I was kind of sick of, and when I went to Cosmos, it was just a whole new game changer for me. And secondly, the gas fees, it's super cheap, like throughout entire Cosmos chains, and wallets are also like Kepler is introducing features where it's constantly improving the onboarding experience for users. So, for example, maybe if you want to pay your gas fees with any other IBC connected token, you can do so on Osmosis right now. I think they have a few options, and it's just like different additional upgrades like this or features like this that they offer. It just adds on to it, and when I say when the future is getting more interchain at the moment, Neutron is another protocol that's coming out on Cosmos very shortly, and they will kind of facilitate the kind of movement where, let's say, I'm not sure if I got it correct, but it's more like if there's an interchain DEX and you want to put all the liquidity together or combine the pools there, Cosmos is kind of ahead in that kind of tech, if that's one way to put it.
Yeah, okay. I get what you mean. So basically, I mean, yeah, you are very bought by like the speed, the gas fees, etc. How about you, CJ? Is there anything else like besides just yeah, like, or rather, what are the features that other than deployability and interoperability that you feel like makes Cosmos ecosystem so much better than the other ecosystems?
Yeah, so I really like the so everything Joella mentioned, I definitely agree. And I also think the governance process of the different app chains makes it really, really effective in terms of moving things forward. So if we compare with Ethereum, for example, where if you want to make like a change to the Ethereum infrastructure architecture, it's going to be like a super duper long process. You have to go through a lot of discussions with the community, the public, the different applications before you can even discuss how to actually execute it. But on Cosmos, because every single chain is basically its own like little app chain, the speed of governance and speed of pushing new updates and improvements and features is actually a lot faster. And that's why I think if you are a smaller protocol and you want to build your own infrastructure and you want to build and move things fast, then Cosmos is probably the way where you can change the underlying layer itself, the what the layer actually does, without going through a very lengthy process. Because there's no way you will do it on Ethereum or other huge EVMs if you want to change some of the underlying infrastructure. But on Cosmos, if you have your own app chain, then that's definitely something that is quite easy to do. Actually, within the week, you can make the proposal, then it can all pass, and then the whole chain can have an upgrade. Yeah, so that's what I like about Cosmos as well.
Yeah, I think those are very good points. I mean, by both CJ and Joella. I always feel like for an ecosystem to really succeed, right? Interoperability and ease of use and all these benefits that you guys have mentioned is very important to the users. But I think both of you guys also hit the note about one key thing, right? Me myself, being a user of Cosmos, I felt like it's very important that the ecosystem is also developer friendly. And I think we can all agree that Cosmos actually wins hands down when it comes to that. When you want to deploy something, you want to develop something, if you try to do that in other ecosystems, it's a bit of a headache. It's doable. I'm not saying it's an impossible task, but it's a bit of a headache. But on Cosmos, it's just so smooth, it's just so easy, it's just so natural. And I think it very much like Apple during the early days, right? The whole reason why Apple got off was because of the developments of the App Store was so much more easier for the developers. Sorry, this Apple fan is harping about Apple products again. But
yeah, stop it.
let me come back to this point, right? So I was just concurring with them that it is indeed true that being ease of development is also very important. So I do what I always do, which is to throw some what the Chinese say, throw some spana out there to cause some chaos, right? Because this is what I believe, right? Like in any relationship, right? If everything is too good, then it's too good to be true, right? Like so far, I've been hearing so many good news, so many good things about Cosmos. So I just want to hear a little bit from both the speakers. If there is one single flaw or one major challenge that you think Cosmos have, what would it be, and how do you think um, how do you think it can be resolved? Yes.
So I'll jump in, but CJ can definitely correct me on this after this. I think Cosmos still this is controversial, maybe, I don't know, but they still lack in many DeFi primitives comparatively to many other ecosystems. But then again, this is a positive comment because I gotta say that has improved a lot over the last year. Because today, for example, we have Strike Zone, which is a liquid staking protocol, and we also have DMAX, which is perps, money market as well, and then we also have Corsa 5 popping up recently with their first ever interchain vault. And I think the whole DeFi scene is just constantly expanding. There's a lot of kind of plans, like even Strike Zone itself, like I was mentioning just now, they already have expanded over various derivatives like ST Luna, ST Osmo, ST Atom, where you could use your quote unquote stake tokens to borrow land or do other DeFi actions. And it's just growing at the moment. It's not there yet. We don't have much liquidity at the moment. There's not really many factors pulling people over from other ecosystem yet, besides probably the friendly dev tools. But user-wise, I don't think many people see a very eye-catching opportunity yet. So, I mean, CJ can correct me on this, what they're doing to solve this, but this is what I feel as of current moment.
Yeah, so I definitely think Cosmos is great, and there are still things that needs to be improved. So the lack of DeFi primitives, like Joella mentioned, is a thing, is an issue. But like Joella also mentioned, there has been a lot of improvements throughout the previous months and quarters. And however, I still think that at the end of the day, we need a lot more education and applications on Cosmos that are interesting for users to use. Therefore, without that, right, it's a bit of a like, why would people go over to Cosmos, and what can they do on Cosmos and not on Ethereum? So if you're not seeing a lot of like genuine innovation that has never been done anywhere else, then we don't really at least Cosmos can't really win the race against Ethereum or other bigger ecosystems. And hopefully this year will be the year where there's a lot of different innovation that comes through its interoperability, through all of the different applications and app chains that are being developed so far. And there could be a really unique protocol, like a killer app, and then people can come over, because we really still need a killer application that can't find anywhere else, on Cosmos. It's one of the reasons why I think Terra Luna did so well. They had like 2 or 3 really killer applications that they can't find on Ethereum, in some sense, and that's why Terra Luna did really well. But without Terra Luna, not saying that they are gone, but on Cosmos itself, there isn't too much of that kind of really interesting innovation previously. But definitely this year we're seeing amazing changes, and I think this is the year that we're gonna see a lot of users trying to go over to Cosmos for applications that they can't find on Ethereum, and hopefully that's going to be the narrative this year as well.
Okay, let's hope the killer app will be MarginX. But jokes aside, I just want to push a bit on this topic because actually that was actually my follow-up question, right? That if you guys could say that there would be one killer app on Cosmos this year, what do you think it would be? Because you see, again, it might be controversial, but I think it's true. Like GMX on Arbitrum basically just transformed the entire Arbitrum platform ecosystem. So all we need is just one killer app on Cosmos, and I don't know whether you guys have have someone something in your mind that think that you'll be looking for in Cosmos this year. Do you guys have? It's okay to say that you don't know yet, you haven't seen it yet.
Oh my god.
I'll put my hands up for MarginX first. Yes, it's MarginX. But okay, skip next.
I'm gonna go between two. I'm gonna choose either DYDX or Duality. These two.
What was the second one?
Duality.
Oh,
Yeah.
Duality, right. I will be looking closely at SEI network, SEI. I think there is quite a lot of interesting stuff that is going on in the ecosystem, and I will also be keeping an eye on Neutron. Right, so I'm a very DeFi person, and both of these app chains are really DeFi focused. And I think a killer application will probably come from DeFi. So Neutron and SEI will probably be where one of the killer applications will be on, in my opinion.
All right, thanks. It's interesting that Joella picked DYDX because we actually invited Karan from DYDX to speak here, and I wanted to challenge him. Like, DYDX is trying to get onto Cosmos this year, but you know what? MarginX is already on Cosmos, and so I wanted to push Karan what's his thoughts on this, but he's not here, so I'll let him off the hook. That's fine. But yeah, we all know that DYDX is a great product as well. Dion, do you have any questions you want to follow up on this one?
Yeah, I was actually really curious because Joella and CJ both you gave us the names of the projects that you are keeping an eye on Cosmos, but I really want to know why you chose, like for Joella, why you chose DYDX and Duality, and for CJ, why you chose Stay and Neutron. Maybe Joella, you can start first.
My reasons are quite simple. For DYDX, I'm excited for them to come over simply because I feel like with them launching, Cosmos will actually face a greater amount of users. So they'll bring out a lot of people because of the name already, and they're branding the space. And for the second Duality, I got a call with them quite long ago, and they just seem like seriously big brain chats. Like, I could barely understand half the call. But basically, they are a DEX aiming to have like liquidity and MEV perks on their DEX. So very, very new tech. It was very hard to digest at first, but I reckon they are quite a good team to follow and keep up with. So that's why I'm looking out for them.
Okay. And CJ, how about you?
Yeah, if Joella didn't pick DYDX, I'll probably also pick DYDX for the fact that they will bring a lot of users over onto Cosmos. But I think Neutron and SEI are also both DeFi focused and will launch their own perpetual markets and something like a DYDX essentially, or possibly even like a GMX version, but on Cosmos. So I think these are the kind of applications that will bring in a lot of different users. And they'll also bring a lot of liquidity, which will then bring in a lot more activity and transaction, which is going to make Cosmos a lot more vibrant. And yeah, that's why I chose those two.
Yeah, just a quick reminder. I see there are lots of people amongst the audience here. So if any one of you want to ask the speakers questions, just raise your hand and I'll just allow you to speak and ask the question. Yeah. Um, so just following up, like on the discussion earlier, right? Like both Joella and CJ picked DYDX, which is a DEX, and it actually prompted me to think about this question, right? Like, which kind of product do you think um, is the best for an ecosystem? Is the best to expand an ecosystem? Is it? I mean, I'm talking about the category, right? The kind of products, because DEX is one kind of product, but we have okay. Let me put it in context. The reason why I mentioned this is because I'm I'm not entirely sure if a product that allows speculation of tokens or purchasing of trades and things like that is that the kind of the best kind of product that we want on ecosystem, or is it some other kind of product that we want to be on our ecosystem? Maybe I don't know, like in our last episode we talked about ESG and carbon purchasing of carbon credit, which I think is also going to be a huge thing in the next couple of years. But I do agree that these days all the hype is about DeFi services and DEXs. But apart from DEXs like DYDX, do you see any other kind of products or services that could actually take hold?
I'll just say that I still think DEXs are the most important of all, because the main focus is DeFi, right? And having those kind of options available and making sure they're constantly being innovated is very important to make sure to ensure the ecosystem has some kind of use and relevance. But I think with respect to that question, other ideas I feel would be much more feasible, or I guess important. I'm not too sure, in all honesty. My main focus has always been on DEXs and anything to do with maybe money markets and stuff. I think these two are the core, most important protocols that any change should have.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I think DEXs are important, but they're not the most important because if, all a DEX is for exchanging stuff, and what stuff is on the DEX is also equally important. So if the DEX is all about crypto assets, which have mainly at the moment speculative value. I mean, that's kind of like a dangerous thing to say on these Twitter spaces. But we are seeing a lot of different real world assets being onboarded onto DEXs, onto crypto in general. Like just today, I think Open Eden launched a T-bill on-chain T-bill vaults. And that's also something that we are bringing over into Cosmos. So people can basically, people from Cosmos can buy these tokenized T-bills, and then they can trade tokenized T-bills. They can go potentially leverage long, leverage short on the price of these T-bills. And those I feel are a little bit more grounded in reality, which hopefully means something that is more sustainable kind of activity and traction. And I do hope crypto in general starts to have more of this kind of instruments. Not because we don't want TradFi, but it's more of the reality is if we want mass adoption, we also need real like actual products that is on chain, that is utilizing blockchain technology for all of the benefits that blockchain tech brings. But this is just purely my opinion.
All right. Thank you so much, Joella and CJ. I think, yeah, that was a very important question. In thinking of how the ecosystem can move forward. I just want to say that we will start to wrap things up, but I have one last question that I feel like because we in MarginX, CoinHall, and Suchio, we are all from different projects, but we want to know how can Cosmos projects work together, moving forward? How do you think that we can all work together to bring Cosmos more awareness, as what you guys have mentioned is key to the ecosystem's growth? Yeah. So, what do you think about how we can work together? CJ?
Yeah, sure. So I do biz dev at Sutro, and this year, so I joined this year, and we basically have already reached out to I think like 10 plus different Cosmos app chains to do collaborations and integrations. And one of the ways we do that is by having the asset on our money market. So that adds additional utility. So that's one way. The other way would be having more of trying to see if there can be some synergies in terms of like, for example, what Quasar is doing, the first cross-chain like strategy vaults. And that basically would utilize assets from different Cosmos ecosystems. So I think those are excellent and real ways where different Cosmos chains can come together and really showcase the benefits and power of interoperability without having any bridges involved in all of these transactions. So that's really awesome. And yeah, I look forward to having more of these synergies happen within Cosmos.
How about you, Joella? Like, what do you think about this?
So for us at CoinHall, we have two products, and one will be towards the user side, and the other one is protocols. I'll just explain the first one. So CoinHall, we offer real-time price charts and other data for over 1,000 plus pairs across 5 chains now on Cosmos. So Kujira, Terra Classic, Osmosis, and Juno. So we will be probably exploring further chain integrations. So this one helps the users because they will be able to see like any analytics data like historical orders, EC, or even swapping on our platform. And on the other end, we have this thing called Genie. So Genie is like a campaign platform, and if some of you may have used Galaxy or Layer 3 before, they're somewhat similar. So this is aimed for protocols to better target their users. So we are also going to explore further chain integrations because currently we only support Terra on our beta. I guess in terms of working together, it really depends on your project, right? What can you do with regard to partner with these projects and what can you offer? But overall, I think more could be done on the educational aspect in the Ethereum. So bringing attention to the masses and not necessarily non-crypto folks when I say this as well. The space is still in general very small, at least for Cosmos, and maybe I guess to bring over other users to be innovating your own products and then attracting people over, or it could be just going through word of mouth and stuff like that. And I guess when more protocols and innovative solutions are being pushed forward, I believe people will come naturally and every single protocol in the Cosmos ecosystem will just grow together. This year will be quite, I guess, exciting because there's over like 37 app chains as well. Interchain security is also up. Not yet the first chain, but still something to look forward to.
Right. Thank you so much. And yeah, like actually, I just wanted to say, like, since you guys talked about CoinHall and Secure, right, that MarginX is also looking to integrate with other projects, with other protocols in the Cosmos ecosystem. We are looking. I mean, because we are an on-chain decentralized exchange, so there is a lot of flexibility to what we can do. So in a few months, you might be able to see these exciting new features. And just want to say, like, keep a lookout. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Joella and CJ, for joining us today. Actually, this Twitter space was a little shorter than our previous ones, but I would say it's quite bite-sized, very informative, and I really enjoyed myself. I hope you guys did too. Thank you to all our listeners who tuned in as well. We hope you learned something new today. Don't forget to follow Joella and CJ on Twitter and also MarginX, so you will know when our next Twitter space will be. Yeah, so that's it. And we hope to see you again next time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Hey, thanks. We'll see you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.